Lesson 2.2, Quadratic Equations. Quadratic equations have x squared in them. We have this a in the front. The a tells us about the graph. So you can see the graph over here on the right, and that is graph pointing out important pieces of it. If the a is more than 1, it's going to look thinner. It's actually stretched vertically, but if you pull something and make it taller, it looks skinnier. And if it's between 0 and 1, it'll look wider, which is actually a shrink vertically. If you squish it down, it looks wider, but it's actually squashed down. If the a is negative, it's reflected upside down, looks like that. And if a is positive, it opens up like that. And you can see the important points. We have two x-intercepts often. The vertex is the lowest or highest point. The axis of symmetry goes through the vertex. We have a couple common forms for quadratic equations. The two most common are the standard form. F of x equals ax minus h squared plus k, where the vertex is hk. So this is sometimes called vertex form. And the axis of symmetry goes through the vertex, and it's vertical, so it's a vertical line through there, so it's the x value, so it's x equals h. To graph standard form, or to graph any quadratic equation, function, find the vertex and make a table around that vertex. The vertex would be the middle, so you want points on each side. Plot the points and draw your parabola. The other form that we have is general form. The vertex is going to be at negative b over 2a, comma, the function of negative b. So you just plug it in. So the x is negative b over 2a. To get the y, you just plug in the x. And our axis then is just the x. X equals negative b over 2a. Let's make a graph of this function. We're going to identify the vertex and axis of symmetry. Well, this one is in standard form. So it's ax squared plus bx plus c. So you can see that a is 1, b is negative 10, and c is 25. So actually start with the axis of symmetry. The axis of symmetry is x equals negative b over 2a. So it'd be negative and negative 10 over 2 times 1, or 5. So it's x equals 5 is the axis of symmetry. The vertex is the axis of symmetry is the x value of the vertex, and we plug it in to get the y value. So let's just take that 5, we're going to plug it in. And we'll end up with 0. So our vertex is the axis of symmetry for the x, 0 for the y. So there's our vertex, 5, 0. The axis of symmetry goes through there. The rest of it, we have to make a table. So let's make a table. Let's grab the calculator. Go to Grapher and clear what's there. And it was x squared minus 10x plus 25. You see the graph. It's did not zoom well. Anyway, go to the table. On the table, I'm going to set my interval. I guess this actually works. I have 0, 25, 1, 16, 2, 9. So 2, 9 is my first point that actually fits on my graph. 3, 4, 4, 1. Look, there's our vertex at 5, 0. 6, 1, 7, 4, and 8, 9. And you can see that that's nice and symmetric around the axis of symmetry. Both sides are the same. You can draw a nice parabola. Let's go the other direction. Let's write the standard form of the equation of the parabola with that vertex and pass this through. Well, since we know the vertex, we should probably use vertex form, which is y equals ax minus h squared plus k. The vertex is hk. So we could plug that in. So it'll be minus a negative 4 plus 11. Of course, minus a negative 4 is the same thing as plus. But I don't know a. Okay, so I can take my other point and I can plug it in for x and y. Alright, so it'll be negative 6 plus 4 is negative 2, squared is 4. Subtract 11. Divide by 4, it looks like a is 1. So now we can get our answer. It's y equals a, which is 1, x minus h squared plus k. The minimum and maximum, the extremes, always occur at the vertex. So if you have a problem that says what's the minimum or what's the maximum, just find the vertex. And the minimum or maximum value is usually the y. So at the you look at the y value of the vertex. If you need to solve quadratic equations, you can solve by factoring or using the quadratic formula. Here it is to remind you. So here's a nice little equation to solve. Now, this looks rather complicated. I wouldn't want to try factoring that, so we can use the quadratic formula. The quadratic formula works when we're in the format in standard form like that. Actually, it has to be 0 equals that. So this is the a, b, c. So it's negative b plus and minus square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c over 2 times a. $14 squared is 196 minus 4 times 8 times 9 gives me negative 92. Alright, so it's the square root of a negative, so that means there's an I involved. Alright, so 92 is 4 times 23, and the negative makes an I. Square root of 4 is 2. On the top, we could factor out a 2, making it 7, and just the square root of 23. And so the 2 can cancel with the 16. So it looks like I'm going to have negative 7 over 8 plus and minus 23 over 8. I if I separate it into separate fractions.